Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. This is Game God Fluent, bringing you lucky episode 13 of Let's Play Aleph, the hardcore D&D style CRPG made with RPGMaker. We are in the city of Arma, I believe, yep. And we're just exploring right now and hoping to get some stuff done. So, let's continue exploring. I can't really see the signs on the buildings, but here we've got Male Win the Tailor, a spinning wheel used to convert wool into spools of thread. We don't really need to use that though. We can kind of just use our sewing kit to turn wool into spool. On the lookout for potions of major mana. Let's talk to Male Win. A young woman with nimble fingers and a steady hand. Her clothing appears of better than average quality. Gleonessa might primarily specialize in magic, but well-tailored clothes are a close second. Wizards seldom ever wear heavy armor due to compromising their mobility, which is required to cast spells. I came all the way from Gleonessa to this town to ensure that only the highest quality tailor-made clothing is sold. Okay, nothing new though. Do we have a cloak for... No, she's got a bracelet, a guardian's bracelet, but... I think it would be a better idea to get her a woodsman's cloak. Let's see. Liz has a leather cloak. Okay, let's go ahead and get her a woodsman's cloak. I can probably make one, right? Well, let me see if I can make one. Sewing kit. To make a woodsman cloak, we need 2 elixirs of luck, neither of which I have on hand right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and pay the 60 for a woodsman's cloak and hook her up with that. Should be a nice upgrade for her. Whoops. Yeah, 6 strength, 1 MP, 1 intelligence, 1 resist, and 2 agility. A thick cloak, the color of tree bark. It has a mahogany clasp in the shape of a tree. Very nice upgrade. Alright, let's get out of here and continue exploring around. Grab these sheep, this wool. Let's check out this shop, or whatever it may be. Okay, it's a building with stuff we can't touch. Something gleaming, though. Guess we can't see because the chair's in front. Some gem or something on the table there. Surely there to provoke you to steal all that stuff. Alright. Cairn. He's a stern-looking man with sharp creases around his eyes. Resting at an inn will only help you recover so much. Get treated by a healer if you really need help with broken bones, diseases, and the likes. It's good to know. Here we've got said inn. Do we need to use its services? No. Wenton Yiddish, a morose young man with large gray eyes. His clothes are stained with dirt and grass. He looks terribly tired. Someone please shut him up. Hey, newcomer, and who are you? I'm the seer. The seer! Hey, Wheaton, look at it's the seer! I've heard about you. You're descended from dragons, right? And the blood gave you magical powers. No, that doesn't even make sense. Hey, really? Guess I got you confused with somebody else. Hey, so, what about the magical powers? Is it true you can turn trolls into gold just by snapping your fingers? No, I'm pretty sure no one can do that. Oh, that's too bad. Alright, one last one. I heard you once rescued the king from 50 skeletons with only a chair and a feather. Is that true? No, I'm just a normal person. Wait, really? Oh, that's disappointing. Hey, the seer, be sure to grab a drink, would you? What do you have? Okay, nothing. Let's go ahead and give this dirty man some money. This is much appreciated. Andra, the tavern maid, a young, well-proportioned woman who teases a smile. So you're the seer. I thought that emblem looked familiar. Anyway, I'm sorry about Lionel. The sailors like to tell him stories. He doesn't really understand that they're pulling his leg. Now we have an inn. A bird bath. We're going to be here a while, guys, so strap on in. Oh, a bookshelf I can take the books of. Alright, we will remove you of your books. Remove you of them. Rupert the innkeep. The innkeep looks weary and tired, though always eager for new coin. It'll cost 4 gold to rest for the night. No. Shop? Stock up before heading out. Just some basic stuff. We don't need to use the inn right now. Man, the city's huge. I can see it. Arm and guard. Also, the Fall Knight welcomes you. We've already talked to both of you. Now if we come over here, it looks like a stables. Hay, bits and pieces of hay. It's for the horses, but better for cows. Apparently I could pick it up. I can't go in the stables? There we go. I had to pick up the hay. Now this hay doesn't belong to me. Okay. King Richard extends his welcome to you, seer. Man, this place is enormous. I don't know if I'm like where I'm going. Some stone building. Barracks. Do not try to cause trouble here, if you will. Excusez-moi. Okay, so there's a barracks out here. And we're at the edge of that part of the map. Maybe this part too. Any other buildings down this way? Probably not. Let's just get into Arma here. Let's see the stables, wall. Okay, we must be outside of Arma right now. And this is where we come in. Okay. Check that place. That was the inn. Did not check this place. Looks like another barracks. A bank, maybe? Sally the banker. Dressed in fine clothing, the banker has a regal look about her. Some adventurers passed through not long ago searching for the Blade of Fortune. It is said that the blade has special properties that allow for its wielder to find more gold. I can see how that would be useful. New entry, Fortune. Access bank, don't see much of a reason to use the bank right now if we have unlimited inventory, but maybe we don't have unlimited inventory. Let's come up here. Okay, there's the pub. Who are you? Karen. Let's come over this way. Wow. Arm and guard. Okay, we've got a weapon shop and a armor shop of some sort. Oh my. Calvin Thickfingers, the armorer. The armorer appears to have a keen eye and is greatly capable at molding metal with his hands. Oh, that Florina. She understands ore and metal and how to shape it in a way that few can comprehend. Plus, she isn't bad on the eyes either. Best steel in town right here. You know, iron breastplate. Oh, she'll lose more agility if she uses the iron breastplate, but it does give more defense, more luck, and HP. It just hits her in the agility. And the greaves, same thing over the boots. Okay. Oh wait. Well, let's come over here. Hopefully we can use the anvil. And if I can remember where those rubies were. I don't see an anvil even. There it is. Florina Shaleskin, the blacksmith. She's a tall woman with distinct facial lines. There's a burn mark on her forehead, half hidden by feathery hair. Blacksmithing isn't about pounding metal into submission. It's about guiding the ore into the shape it was always meant to have. Make sure the pointy end goes into the other guy. Nothing. I guess we can go ahead and use the anvil. And make like 5 iron ingots. And keep exploring for now. Another exit to Arma. Striving to master the principles is a noble endeavor. This looks like a bookshop, a library maybe? Oh my. Oh, and they're all green. Meaning I can take all the books. I'm not going to be. Varen Kalor. An old lanky man, he has a notable gap in his front teeth and his simple clothing smell of sulfur and ash. Ink smudges stain his hands and the cuffs of his robe, I don't know.
Oh, yes, Matthew, I presume. I was sent word that a seal had arrived. I was hoping it would show up here eventually. No doubt you have many questions. I will do the best I can to answer them.
Tell me about the Alephs.
You might not know it, but you come from a long line of seers. All seers come from another world, another time, but they are all gifted. Only a seer can use the Alephs of Principle, and the Aleph you have now in your possession. Which do you want to know more about?
The Alephs of Principle.
Each of these large ancient Alephs represents one of the primary principles which all of man bases goodness upon: bravery, empathy, sincerity, temperance, wisdom, modesty, and piety. A seer who has truly embodied a principle is granted the ability to withstand harm by the associated Aleph, at least according to some of the older scripts regarding the seers. Although most seers strive for good, they don't always succeed. There have been seers who have harmed the realm far more than helped due to succumbing to temptation, cowardice, ignorance.
My Aleph?
The heraldry of the House of the Aleph, yes. This Aleph was supposedly crafted by the first seer to find the Dark Father in his hiding place and drive him from the realm. Though all recent texts suggest that seers mostly use it to locate people, places, items of interest, and the like. I am no seer, so anything I say are merely the words of the dead.
Never mind. Tell me about anathema.
It is the embodiment of everything evil within us, seer. If the Alephs of Principle are bravery, empathy, sincerity, wisdom, modesty, temperance, and piety, then anathema represents all of the opposites combined. Anathema destroyed entire armies during the Age of Knights and the following Age of the Plagued Dead. It was only finally banished during the Age of Final Weapons by a seer wielding the Lost Circle spell of annihilation. The spell had been lost to us over time, but it does exist. There are fragments of it. I am confident that if all the fragments were gathered, the spell could be completed once more. Unfortunately, all of this transpired long ago, and there are few texts regarding it that have survived the ages, so my knowledge on the subject is not extensive.
Who is Echo?
She was a wizard of absolute power, full Hailgear blood. She and Galathan the Lightbringer united Hailgear and mankind against the Dark Father. Echo and Galathan were the first union between our kind and theirs. They ushered in a long age of peace that lasted for generations. Her power was so strong, though, that some scholars suggest she may not have ever died at all. Suggested that she exists outside the realm that we can see, hear, and touch. But as with any subject so very old, there are very few texts to give an accurate account of what happened.
Never mind. We're gonna look through these books. This is Zamsai the Librarian, a Hailgear of advanced age. He appears wise and knowledgeable.
Have you ever heard of a Delnoan? It is a half-dragon, half-phoenix. It prowls above the clouds and is rarely ever seen. There is a far-off land I have visited called Zems. I have seen this elusive Delnoan myself, along with many other strange and beautiful creatures.
Oh, wow. I can't take all of these freaking books. The Bringer of Light Part 1. We'll take that. Okay, I don't need Deathcap Findings. We'll take the Two Prophets. Grimoire Part 1 and King Seal House of the Fallen. Grimoire Part 7, Journal Ignavis Part 1. I hope I'm not coming across as greedy taking all these books. Part 4, Part 5, Part 8, pretty sure we have To Catch a Predator. Tithing the Cairns, sure. Lost Spells, we have Blight, we have Echo a History, not sure. We have Dark Father 1, Grimoire 1. Coming of the Dark Father Part 3, Bringer of Light Part 1, King Seal House of the Fallen 1, Brotherhood of Man Manifesto, Ignavis Part 2, Legend of the Sword Part 1, that sounds interesting. I mean, they all sound pretty interesting. Water Elementals, the Grimoire 4, we have 5, Patrolman's Log. Okay, so we're able to leave a lot behind, which is good. Part 2, Dark Father. We have 7, we have Ignavis, we have Lightbringer, I think. Ignavis Part 2, Song of Jeremy the Reckless. Let's just grab Lightbringer. I can go ahead and store some books back on these shelves too, which should help. Trade back with our Skama, Ghouls and Golems, we'll take that. Another Patrolman's Log, Demons of the Deep, Bringer of Light Part. Look like 1, if not 15 or something. I hope it's not. I hope that's just a 1. Two Prophets Part 2, The Black Scroll, The Infinite Library, Oath of Light. Everything else looks like we have. We'll in a library, so we'll read a bit. House of the Mentally Infirm, Legend of the Sword. Let's just grab that Legend of the Sword to make sure that it's like my Treatise on Magic, the Grimoire, Brotherhood of Man, Black Scroll, Putting the Dead to Use, Song, the Hellbrand Family. Okay, so we've got some books here. You know what? Let's do this. Rather than sell the books, let's store some books here. Books that we've read already, so maybe we should hang on to them, I don't know, in case we need a refresher. Just go ahead and hoard them all. Let's read a little bit today. Guide to Attributes Anathema, Monks of the Avocati. What of the Ars Mortalis? Yeah, we can get rid of some of these though. We have multiple copies. Blight. Ghouls and Golems. Unknown author, or no one is credited. On the surface, ghouls and golems look nothing alike. Ghouls have festering sores on their skins, sloughing off the meat beneath, and golems are often made of strong metal or stone. But these two unnatural entities have a great deal in common. Magic binds them both to their respective masters. They obey without question. They hunger for nothing, they want nothing, they feel nothing. The very principle for ghouls and golems is the same, to create life where it did not exist before. Perhaps life is the wrong term, for neither of these are truly alive, though a necromancer would disagree as far as their ghoul was concerned. Both were created for the same purpose, manual labor and a completely loyal fighting force. If I had to choose which to make, though, I would gladly choose the golem over the ghoul for several reasons. Chief among them, a ghoul requires a dead body, a golem just needs rocks or metal. Further, a golem has far superior durability to the flesh of a ghoul, and the magical process is simpler to animate inanimate rock than deceased flesh. The primary advantage of a ghoul has over a golem is that they are malleable, and a necromancer can make the ghoul look like any person they wished, if they had the talent to do so. Such trickery was used to great effect in the assassination of Lord Idrin Chalice of Brydelas. But give me an army of stone giants any day, and I would not content myself with one mere lord, but an entire city. Okay, that's the end of the book. That's pretty neat. Pretty neat book there. The Two Prophets Part 2, we don't have the first part. Okay, we have 4 books of the Coming of the Dark Father. Okay, we read Part 1, The Coming of the Dark Devourer. That was where they were running and they all got overtaken before they got to the water. Let's read Part 2. Coming of the Dark Devourer Part 2 by Varen Kalor, Master Historian of House Kalor. A day and evening passed by when a group of 5 adventurers came across a small child in the weeds. These men were unlike the townsfolk and were clad in metal plates and wielded large weapons. Their skin was a dark shade of gray, and the shape of their eyes were different than that of a man's. They took the child from the weeds, fed him, and took him with them into the mountains to the east. A flock of doves fleeing from the mountains showed the group of 5 where they were to go. The group moved swiftly and quietly along the edge of a cliffside where they came across the pack of warg wolves that annihilated the tribe, and in their travel back through the mountains disturbed the birds. The warg wolves, even with their keen senses, had not detected the 5. With the element of surprise on their side, 4 of the 5 adventurers leapt from the cliffside and onto the unsuspecting warg wolves, as the 5th stayed behind to care for the child. The 4 adventurers fought tenaciously and quickly brought an end to all of the beasts. With their task finished and the werewolves skinned for their hides, the five headed west once more with the child in hand until they reached the Great Sea in their ship. They boarded and left to go back to their home of Glianessa. The land of Glianessa was untouched by the monstrous hordes and great dragons. The land knew peace, but was also unknown by mankind and monster alike. It was the home of the Hailgear, proud and reclusive scholars. In their peace, the Hailgear thrived, creating a settlement and a large library. They learned to harness powerful magic and wrote all they could to document it in their great library. Though not all of the Hailgear could harness magic, only a few could, but others trained to become soldiers while the rest farmed and crafted. The boy was raised within a Hailgear family and given the name Galathan. He was taught at the Great Library all through his childhood and was trained with the Hailgear boys in the ways of swordsmanship and combat tactics. He learned that groups of Hailgear soldiers made occasional trips to the other lands to hunt for game, and he was told of what happened to the tribe where he was originally from. Not knowing or remembering anything of his mother or the tribe he was from, Galathan felt little emotion towards the matter and instead focused on becoming a stronger and wiser fighter. Coming of the Dark Father Part 3. Growing up, the Hailgear attempted to teach Galathan the use of magic, but like many others, he was unable to wield it effectively. However, during his magic classes, he met a beautiful Hailgear girl named Echo. She too attempted to teach Galathan magic, but it was a futile effort. This did not stop her from spending time outside of her studies with him. The two bonded quickly and were soon best friends. They studied together at the Great Library and spent many nights wandering the coasts of Glianessa, oblivious to the terrible forces encroaching on every side of them. As the two grew into young maturity, a grave new danger arose to face the Hailgear people. From the sea came a monstrous great dragon and a horde of demons from the murky abyss intent on the utter destruction of Glianessa and the Hailgear. Mustering all of their magic and wielding all of their swords and shields, the Hailgear met the devil force with great might and tenacity. The demons and dragons had never encountered such opposition from the likes of mankind, and suffered greatly. However, their attacks over the span of months took a great toll on the Hailgear, as many warriors and scholars alike fell to the slough of evil before repelling the attack and sending the great dragon back into the sea. The victory was short-lived, as the leaders of the Hailgear people convened and decided that if another such attack was to occur, they would be helpless against it, for far too many Hailgear have lost their lives. If Glianessa was to stand for another generation, it would need help from the outside. It was decided that the Hailgear would seek out the human tribes on the continents to the east and south, for although mankind had proven to be less than prosperous as a people, Galathan shown the Hailgears that the likes of man were capable of learning Hailgear techniques. The Hailgear leadership appointed Galathan as the diplomat for the journey, for his heritage would go a long ways towards gaining the cooperation of the numerous tribes of men. A small group of royal Hailgear soldiers and craftsmen would accompany him, as would Echo and several scholars and magicians. Galathan traveled for weeks across the vast sea to the east, arriving at the shore near a small human tribe. The tribe's scouts had taken the Hailgear band for enemies, for they did not appear to be human, and a small warband of men marched out and met Galathan and the Hailgear. At first the warband mistook Galathan for a prisoner of the Hailgear, but Galathan convinced them otherwise, and soon the diplomatic group was led back to the tribe, having been deemed not a threat. Part 4. The tribal elders held a mixture of confusion and elation upon seeing the Hailgear. The foreign clothing, metal armor, and weapons were vastly intimidating compared to mankind's crude instruments of rock and wood. Galathan explained to the tribal folk the purpose of his visit. He extended to them the offer of the Hailgear people. The Hailgear group would teach the tribal folk how to fight, how to make better and stronger weapons and armor, how to craft boats and navigate the seas, how to grow food efficiently, and how to use magic, for the ones who could do so. In exchange, the tribe would need to answer the call of the Hailgear people when it came. The tribal elders quickly agreed to this offer, for it would give them the means to not only survive against marauding bands of horrors, but even thrive in such a harsh environment. Galathan and the soldiers taught the able-bodied tribal folk how to wield weapons and fight. The craftsmen taught the older tribal folk how to create weapons and armor, and Echo and the scholars discerned who had the most potential to wield magic and taught them all they knew of it, imparting all knowledge of the arcane. Once the diplomatic group was satisfied that the tribal folk had learned all they could, and learn it well they did, they traveled across the eastern plains until they encountered another tribe. The diplomatic group went from one tribe to another, eventually crossing across the southern sea to another continent and encountering more tribes there, and taught them all the ways of the Hailgear. Okay, we have Bringer of Light, Part 1 and 2. Chris the Lucky. Legend of the Sword Part 2, Part 1. Okay. Chris the Lucky has 9 parts. The Grimoire. Okay, we are at, let's read The Bringer of Light, Part 1, by Varen Kalor, Master Historian of House Kalor. One day, in the south end of the continent, a scout for the tribe that Galathan was imparting time with reported seeing an expansive and terrible swarm of horrors coming from the east, led by a great ink-black demon. The Hailgear troop went to see for themselves and witnessed something which sent a chill down each of their spines. The swarm was the single largest body of creatures they have ever seen, and in the midst of the swarm was the ink-black demon, leading 3 great dragons, more powerful and fearsome than any other dragons before seen. The group traveled quickly back to the tribe and told them of the great danger coming forth. The Hailgear and the tribe left. The Hailgear group and the tribe left, heading west away from the army of terror. It was agreed that the force of evil was so potent that it would likely destroy every last being in all of the lands, and at once a messenger was dispatched to Glianessa. Galathan and the group of diplomats traveled from tribe to tribe, warning them of the imminent danger and having them flee the area, gathering far to the north. Scouts were dispatched daily to track the terrible demon horde. The demons and dragons moved west across the land and slowly turned north. Mankind would have nowhere to run or hide before long. Galathan and all that would follow rallied in the north. Numerous tribes at this point banded together, and none have ever seen so many men in one place before. But still they knew the great swarm of evil outnumbered them by incalculable number. Judging by the scouts' assessments, the monsters would be upon them within a month's time. With so many tribal folk and the Hailgear group in one area, food and shelter became a more immediate, pressing concern. Hunting parties were quickly created out of the various tribes' best fighters, and all of the crafters rallied together to create buildings under the guidance of the Hailgear craftsmen. Within 2 weeks, numerous stone buildings were erected, as was a wall to surround the settlement. Every day, new tribal folk rallied to this great new city. One night, without warning, winged beasts came from the sky and attacked the city. They were dragons, but not the great dragons seen in the company of the Black Demon, Referred to all at this point as Amarithrian, Amirthrian, the Dark Devourer, for the foul beast consumed the lands and plagued them with darkness. The dragons flung magic and flames from the sky, scorching the city and setting it ablaze. The people quickly fled their homes and escaped into the night. Galathan remained in the city, as did Echo and the Hailgear. Amirthrian, the Dark Devourer's force, and the Amirthrian, the Dark Devourer's force, would be upon them within days. Well, it's getting pretty interesting. Bringer of Light Part 2. Galathan sensed the end coming. All of the efforts of the Hailgear to teach mankind how to fight and survive and use magic have been fruitless, for at the first sign of danger they fled hastily into the night. Galathan did not give in to cowardice, though. He remained and prepared his armor and sword for battle. Within a day and a half, the Dark Devourer and his army appeared on the horizon, marching steadfastly north towards the ruined city which existed only for a mere week. A cry came from one of the Hailgear at the edge of the town who was keeping watch over the sea. Galathan and Echo went to see what the Hailgear was shouting about. Many hundreds of ships dotted the great sea's horizon. Immediately Galathan could see the Hailgear ships from Glianessa, but most of the ships were crewed and staffed by the tribal folk of the northern continent. At once, men who had fled into the night began to wander back into the ruined city. Those who had lost heart in the night gathered renewed strength in the day. Throughout the evening, ships pulled onto the shore. Entire tribes unloaded from the boats, along with Hailgear soldiers and mages. The tribal elders and the Hailgear leaders met formally for the first time. If it was to be the end of mankind in Hailgear, then they would make the demons suffer evermore to bring that end about. The tribal folk and Hailgear people alike applauded Galathan's efforts for bringing the two races together, and for rallying the tribes. Galathan refused to accept credit, for he was only doing what he was needed to, and he retired to his quarters for the evening. Echo visited him that night. Having spent so much time together in Glianessa and on their travels across the continents, they grew inseparably close to one another. She took Galathan's sword and cast a powerful magic spell upon it, enchanting it with all of her spirit and pouring into it all of her will and magic. The blade glowed brilliantly as if a star had entered the room. The next day, the great Dark Devourer's army marched down upon the army of man in Hailgear. The two races rallied together, equipped with weapons and armor, and valiantly charged the throng of demons and dragons. Galathan charged across the field of battle with his enchanted blade of light, and struck down demon upon demon. The battle engulfed the entirety of the northern coast of the continent, and for hour after hour, man, Hailgear, and demon fought a pitched and bitter battle. Countless bodies littered the fields, and dark demon and dragon blood soaked into the ground. Galathan hacked his way to the great Amirthrian, the Dark Devourer, and thrust his sword of light deep into the monster's gaping maw. The sword shattered, each shard embedding into the demon's skull, instantly slaying the terrible leader of the demon army. The three great dragons that fought alongside the demon lord panicked and fled, along with the remaining forces of the demons. Men in Hailgear chased the fleeing army from the field and rejoiced in a grand victory, for that day marked the first day in which mankind and the Hailgear people would truly flourish together. After the devastating battle, the Hailgear led mankind in building a settlement so that survivors could be tended to. Great celebrations were had, and Galathan was revered as a hero. Once the survivors settled, the remaining leaders of both races met. They discussed the long-lasting relationship between both races and spoke of unifying the remaining tribes of mankind. It was decided that if mankind and Hailgear were to truly thrive, they would need to unite all of their people. It was also decided that a more visible symbol of Hailgear and human unification was needed, and the leaders could not think of a better way than to marry a Hailgear and a human. Galathan became the prime choice, as he showed that humans were capable of great tenacity, restraint, wisdom, sincerity, and modesty. Galathan was happy to be the first of mankind to marry a Hailgear, and he and Echo were wed shortly after, solidifying the alliance of man and Hailgear. Groups of diplomats, soldiers, crafters, and mages were assembled and sent to the various corners of the lands, where they taught the remaining tribal folk of their ways and brought them into the greater fold of humanity. These groups established new settlements, soon becoming known as colonies, as they swore fealty to the Hailgear human alliance and reported to the leaders of the races. The leaders, along with Galathan and Echo, made their new settlement the center of the new alliance, and this was the start of the period of time referred to as the Age of Colonies. Cool, so we know how that ends, right? Kind of, but that's how it started. The next two ages would be coming next. I think that's enough reading for now. And how long have we been playing? Because it seemed like that book took us a while to read. 37 minutes, almost done. Unbelievable. It is so... There's so much to do. It's like... It's just crazy. Time goes by so fast. Grandfather clock, nice. A lot of Aleph entries. Shelf, more books. Let's see. Coming of the Dark Father Part 3. No, we have that. Lightbringer of Light Part 1. Shimmering Mirrors, we have that. House, King Seal, House of the Scroll, Infinite Library, Legend of the Sword. We may have all the books. There's Silly Hollow. We're going to talk to him probably next episode. All spells putting the dead to use. Transcribed Hailgear poem. Treatise on Arms Star Iron. Not sure if we have Grimoire Part 2. We'll just take it. Talk to Silly Hollow in a bit. Ghouls and Golems. Into the Night. I think we have that. The Two Prophets Part 1. The Age of Final Weapons. Let's grab that. The Story of Crystal Lucky. Part 9. I think we have... No! I didn't mean to remove all. I thought we had Part 9. Grimoire 8, I'm pretty sure we have. King Seal, House of the Fallen. King Seal, House of the Scroll. Let's go see what this scroll is. We can't touch it as a scroll of drain. We'll talk to Silly Hollow next time. don't know if I should sell the books or just prop them all up on a... what was the Ars Mortalis again? Oh, the Crimson Tome. The Two Prophets, Part 1 and 2. Oh, we missed these. Alright, let's read one more. Let's see how long these Two Prophets are. Alright, let's read this quickly. Two Prophets Part 1 by Varen Kalor, Master Historian of House Kalor. For ages, the race of man wandered in small numbers across the land. Now this is before the coming of the Dark Father. Like, my bad. For ages, the race of man wandered in small numbers across the lands, very seldom cohering in large groups. They slowly were hunted to the brink of extinction by the various creatures which inhabited the untamed wilds. In a world where survival was paramount and the food chain was constantly shifting, mankind was soon to perish forever. On several occasions, groups of men attempted to unite into something larger, something more powerful and secure, in order to assert dominance over the land. Whenever they did this and started to build a small settlement, a great dragon would lead an army of ferocious terrors and destroy the works of man. Any attempt at fighting back proved futile, as the dragons and their minions proved time again to be too powerful to defeat. It is told that two old men who had lived within a cave high in the Barrier Mountains had two distinctly different visions of the ultimate fate of mankind. One of the old men saw the perpetual hunting of mankind by the terrible beasts, slowly picked away one by fierce creatures until hardly anyone was left. The other old man saw a large crowd of men standing around a settlement the likes that had never been seen before. The two men could not decide on which fate would befall mankind, and both felt that their vision was the correct one. The next day, the two old men set out from their cave to the plains west of the mountains to seek the nearest small tribe of men. Once they arrived and showed that they were no threat to the tribe, the two old men told their respective visions to the tribal elders. The elders were as deadlocked about the old men's visions as the old men themselves were. The tribal elders were also concerned that these two men had visions at all, as none in the tribe have ever had any. This made the tribal elders both fearful and at the same time filled with a sense of awe. The two old men were clearly not just ordinary men. The next day, after much heated debate, the tribal elders came to a decision. They would keep the two old men at the tribe on the plain to protect them, as the tribe could spot approaching enemies at a great distance there, and send out several runners to tribes further away. They were to bring back delegates from the neighboring tribes to listen to the two old men's visions and offer their suggestions about them. That evening, both old men had visions once more. The old man who envisioned the near extinction of mankind saw a large grassy field with doves flying overhead, and in the middle of the weeds lay a newborn infant. The old man who saw the large gathering of men around the never before seen settlement saw a large number of buildings set ablaze and people running for their lives, being chased by demons and monsters lurking in the darkness beyond. That's pretty interesting that the one who saw them getting picked off in the near extinction, he prophesied the newborn infant Galathan in the weeds and the doves flying overhead. So that's how they knew to follow the doves and stuff. We'll go ahead and read Two Prophet. No, we'll save that for next time. I'm going to save. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Plenty more to come. Way more to come. Hope you're enjoying the LP as well. And above all, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you guys. We're going to talk to Silly Hollow next time and check out more of these books and then get rid of said books maybe, or do something with them. But I hope you'll join me for that, and I hope you'll continue watching the LP with me or joining the LP with me. Really love having you guys along. I will see you next time, hopefully. Much love, peace, and joy. Take care, guys. Until next time, so long.